What is going on, guys? Summer World from Summer Legends here, back with another top 10 video for y'all today. And it's actually going to start a series of Survivor videos I will be doing, since I do often talk about Survivors, so... and it's a series I've always wanted to do on my channel, obviously, when I talk about Survivor. So, I never actually thought about Surprise List, but I thought I watch Survivor constantly, it's my favorite show of all time. And I never thought what are actually my favorite episodes. Like, which of the episodes from Survivor really stick out to me? So, I'm going to do in a series where I'm going for like certain seasons and certain eras of Survivor and talk about my favorite episodes on those aspects. And then I'm going to lead to talk about an overall best and worst episodes list. So, for this one, I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite episodes from the first 8 seasons. Which are the episodes from the first 8 seasons, which episodes from the first 8 seasons stuck out to me the most? And I'm planning to do it for other like eras, like next one will be on season 9 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 26, 27 to 32, and 33 to 40, and of course 41 to 49. And I mean, as Friday comes out, I might do like a video where I rank every episode of that season, and then at least do an overall best episodes of Survivor ever, and for fun of it, gonna do a worst one as well. Again, as far as I never really actually truly thought that honestly, surprisingly, about how much I love Survivor. So it does be a fun video. So again, from like Borneo, Australian Outback, Africa, my cases, Thailand, Amazon, Pearl Islands, and All Stars, I'm going to talk about my favorite episodes from those 8 seasons. Which ones that stuck out to me the most for a lot of different reasons, whether it be from character moments or crazy blindsides or crazy moments or just episodes that are just entertaining throughout. Again, I'm pretty much a love majority of Survivor episodes, honestly, so this was definitely not an easy list to do even from this type of era of Survivor. But I still have fun doing this, obviously, so I hope you all enjoy these series of videos. And I would just love to know what are your favorite episodes from the first 8 seasons down below in the comment section. Again, as always, it's just my personal opinion. Again, opinion is always subjective, especially when it comes to Survivor episodes from what I always hear, so I still hope you all enjoy this. Let me know what other sort of content you guys want me to do down below in the comments. I definitely want to do more of these Survivors in general. And originally I was planning to also do the same thing with Survivor cast as well, but then I realized how difficult that actually would be, honestly, especially with the trained players and all that stuff, so I do plan to do just a regular list at some point. Like, still not sure when I'm doing that yet, honestly, but I'll keep you updated on that. Always, I hope you enjoy. Let's talk about my favorite episodes from the first 8 seasons. Before we get to talk about this series of Survivor videos, I'm also going to do something that I've been meaning to do, and that is basically do streamer shoutouts. I didn't mention this in the update video, but I do plan on doing more of these videos, and the first streamer I'm going to discuss is Maddie's son, who of course is just one of my favorite people I've met on the platform. Honestly, she was actually one of the first Twitch streamers I actually found when I got into Twitch back in like 2020. It was around 2020 I started getting into streaming a lot. I always started to watch people on Twitch. I started to really get into that community and aspect. And Maddie's son was generally one of the first people. Like, definitely like LBXPY was definitely one of like the true first one. But again, I never, again, she just doesn't stream anymore. But Maddie's son, she's like the pure definition of sunshine. It's like I always call her Maddie Sunshine. Because she literally is sunshine. She has just one of the most wholesome communities you'll ever be a part of. She's just an awesome, great person in general. Like, basically, if you love different, like, JRPGs or Pokemon or Final Fantasy or even, like, Nintendo games, obviously Mario and other franchises and especially Kingdom Hearts, you're definitely going to love my son. And getting to know her these last, like, 5.5 years, that's been truly a spectacle and truly wonderful to witness. It's been wonderful just getting to know her and see how much she has grown, obviously. Like again, she's playing like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, and even one point she actually was a Genshin Impact streamer. And now she's basically back doing what she does best. Basically back doing what she does best. Again, like I said, she's just a delightful human that is so talented, has been through a lot of greatness in her life. Like, also, you're never going to find a bigger Taylor Swift funny fan than Maddie as well. And she's just a true delightful human being that has just gone through so much, honestly, and I'm happy to have been a part of the community through all that. I remember even play games there when I first started when I first started watching her, and she's just makes everyone feel so loved and welcomed. Basically, how any Twitch streamer feels really should do. Obviously, I feel like I can just chat in there and be myself and have a great time while watching her, but also just chatting with her about a lot of random stuff like Survivor and all that stuff. and she's really one of the best people on that. Like, definitely, if I were to make a list, that obviously some of my favorite streamers, obviously, and I do say that a lot, honestly, but if I would definitely make a list, she would definitely be super high on that list. But she's definitely a streamer that also got me through a lot of rough times. Like, I think about her, like, like, at the end of COVID, when COVID was like a thing in 2020, obviously, and then 2021 was not exactly a great year, in 2022, and the other years especially were not great, obviously. But she was definitely there throughout those times, honestly, where it's me just going through a community or me just being there for her and all that stuff. Like, she was always there for me throughout all the rough times, all the back and forth, all the crazy insanity that we ended up going through. And I can't think of anyone that's just more definition of sunshine and just definition of lovely and awesome than Maggie. So, again, as I'm filming this video, as of right now, she is currently playing through Zelda at the moment. She's playing through, she recently finished Ocarina of Time and also playing through George Mask. And she also did play through Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, and also played through Life is Strange, which is my favorite of all time, which was pretty awesome to witness. And so basically, if it's any issue you can check out, it's definitely yours. Not only am I going to leave her Twitch down below, I'm also going to leave her YouTube channel down below in the comments. Where she posts a lot of her streams on the platform as well as as highly edited videos and all that stuff. And you can see for a lot of her playthroughs and everything. And then you can see how much she has grown these last like 5.5 years as I know her. It's truly a spectacle to behold. And if you guys have not checked out my son, I would give her the highest recommendations. Again, I will leave her Twitch and YouTube down in the description. My son, if you're watching this, thank you for being amazing. Thank you for being my friend all these years. Thank you for helping me through so many rough times in my life. I hope you know just how amazing and loved you are, and I'm thankful to still know you all these years later. You are a true treasure of a human being. Now, coming in at number 10, and coming in at number 9 are 2 episodes from Survivor All Stars, which, again, for All Stars not being a particularly good season, like I always stand by that it is the Survivor season that has aged the worst, in my opinion. Still, definitely some stands, and funny enough, all these episodes actually really do, and all these episodes is getting a lot of the issues that plagues our All Stars, honestly. On their own, honestly, they are entertaining episodes, with number 10 being the finale, the sole surviving All Star, and number 9 being Mad Scramble in Broken Hearts, which is episode 10. Of course, the finale obviously being the culmination of what went on. We know the boss round in the episode before, obviously, Big Tom got blindsided. And then we get a fun challenge with Amber and she won, honestly. And then Jenna basically blindsided her closest ally in Rupert. The Boston Rob, Amber, and Jenna get Boston Rob and Amber basically being like the main couple and the main duo of the season. Which, say what you want about the season, they're definitely one of the biggest highlights of this season. Like, Boston Rob, this is probably where he actually shine as a character and shine as a player, for better or for worse, at least this season. And then we get like a laughably short immunity challenge, obviously, where they have to do this in a certain manner. Then Jenna went out very quickly, and then Amber went out very quickly as well, and Boston Rob winning, and he voted Jenna, obviously. But what really made this episode on the list, honestly, of course, the entire Final Tribal Council. The entire Final Tribal Council being this incredibly bitter Tribal Council, and when a moment that moments that I will talk about later, obviously. But the jury being just so bitter around the Amber, not wanting toward either of them to win, honestly, and they ended up winning Amber because she was lesser of two evils. And so basically she ended up that Amber was the mastermind, and she wasn't, obviously. And that's just kind of a side factor, obviously. But you can kind of, I think you can kind of think about it. And of course, you also get obviously the overview and one, and obviously Boston Rob President Amber, obviously. So I think that's really good for him, in my opinion. But then we get to next episode, obviously the episode where basically we get that random tribe swap out of nowhere, where basically all the Shapiro members except Amber go to Mogo Mogo, and then all the Mogo members go to Shapiro, and Amber being the only lone Shapiro member. And obviously is the episode basically Boss Ryan may be separate, obviously, and then a lot of conflict and everything, obviously, and then Shapiro ended up losing the challenge, obviously, and then Amber being like the only non-Mogo Mogo member, obviously, with because she could be like, Boss Ryan doesn't want that, obviously, because she's in love with Amber. And then we get the tagline, if you take care of her, I'll take care of you. If you can. Which obviously leads to a lot of the conflict, obviously. Not to spoiler, we'll get to an episode later on in the video. But yeah, while this kind of indicates a lot of the negativity that kind of surrounded this season, obviously. And this is kind of around time when the surviving community was more like new, obviously. It's still a pretty iconic moment, obviously, and then leads to obviously Jerry getting blindsided. Jerry actually demoted the house, which obviously pretty much sinks Lex game, obviously, because obviously they with obviously sinks Lex game, obviously, and sinks Kathy's game, pretty much sinks everyone's game, obviously, in that tribe. Which obviously we saw later on in the season, but yeah, despite these episodes pretty much instigate off the negativity of this season, they're still very they're still very entertaining and still like very intriguing, obviously, at least at the time especially. And they'll put them on this list. And now at number 8, we get to the surprisingly the only South Africa to make the top 10, obviously, because I do generally love South Africa, obviously. But I'm surprised, honestly, that only one made the actual top 10, and that is Smoking at the Snake, which is episode 9. Which basically is the final 9 round of the season, obviously, and it's the reason why it's on the list is basically just Lex. Like, Lex is the iconic character, he's a great villain, obviously, and he's like paranoia, and he's like scheming to try and figure out like who was the lone vote, who was the person that voted him last time council, which is so entertaining, obviously, and it led to be his own name in Kelly, which was pretty hilarious how he did that, obviously. He also gets weird moments from T-Bird here. I freaking love T-Bird. Again, I actually, I've talked to a lot, actually, outside of the show, actually, and I've always loved T-Bird, obviously, and she's great here, and all the people are great here as well. Get some really fun moments. Then we get a fun emotional role more times with Ethan, which instantly makes him a very likable character. And it gets him to understanding his obviously like being paranoid and really be just step forward on Gabriel Kelly thinking he was alone though when they were out here was T-Bird. Which again it's still pretty which again it's still pretty hilarious that ended up being the case obviously, and it led to a couple of like fun like professionals of the Trump Council that was just iconic, and Brandon just randomly decided to flip for no real reason, honestly. Like there was no reason for him to really flip all Kelly, obviously, which I'm fine that lends to me about at the next episode. But yeah, it's just that entertainment as well as what first episode on this list. And now at number 7, we get to an episode from about Amazon. Now, of course, Amazon's all season. I don't think it's also not aged the best, obviously, and I do think it's still a great season. But of course, it has like 3 fantastic episodes, obviously, the final 8 round, which fortunately is probably would be number 11 on this list. And then, of course, we get to one episode we get to, but we get to another one at number 7, which is Q&A, which is episode 11. Basically, of course, being an episode where basically we get a auction, and then basically, a very emotional involvement, obviously, generally very emotional because of mom being ill, which makes her very relatable. We get a lot. This basically like the Rob show in this episode, obviously, and Rob just, obviously with him being a big podcast host and him being just an iconic character, like, there's a way when people think he's like the best character, best person to ever win Survivor. And I still stand by that. And we get for the media challenge, where basically wins immunity, and of course we get the iconic fun blind side, where basically he votes out Alex and betrays Jen and Heidi. And we get just a lot of back and forth throughout this episode, and it's just again, not much to say about it, but it's just entertaining, and we get just a pretty epic blind side. Okay, Rob and Neil's like great skills of the game. Again, spoiler, we'll get to actually the other episodes, why Amazon that's more iconic, but it's still a great episode nonetheless. And now at number 6, we get to basically the episode also on this list, and that is Anger, Tears, and Chaos. Which is basically the episode that happens after, basically, Flex and Kathy, Sheehan, basically, like, kind of stuck in his own games for Amber, thinking, obviously, like, Kathy was going to be with them, obviously, and then turns out about Robson, and then we get it's like, you think I was being serious, right? And so while there definitely, I would say, still some debate on whether or not, it was true, or whether or not. And while there was some debate where it was true that Boston was actually going to stay on, so there definitely is still some updates and still some question marks on that. Because now it's still very iconic. This is probably like the most negative aspect of the season. This month basically eclipses basically, what the negative tone of this season, obviously, which is like no one's really having fun, and it gets very personal. Which is, well, in reality, I'm not like the always the hugest fan of, obviously. It still makes for entertaining TV, it still makes for really engaging TV, and especially with the whole fight between Boss Rom and Lex Sam's later on in the episode. It's pretty intense, and you still end up being pretty invested at what goes on, actually. We get a lot of good back and forth, especially with Kathy and Boston Rom, and Lex, being Lex, and even Amber, honestly, a little bit. Wanted to actually still look at them and everything, and then we get to fun challenge moments, and Kathy lost her winning immunity, Kathy didn't give me up her immunity for Lex, then Lex basically getting blindsided. So yeah, well again, this one basically eclipses the aspect of, the tone of this season and why season I think season one is the worst. It's still a pretty engaging option nonetheless, obviously even does again eclipse the tone of the based on that, it's still a good episode. It's obviously good enough to make it close to top five. And now in number five, we get to the other Star Trek Amazon episode. Obviously, that is Sour Grapes. Basically, the episode that happens obviously after Q&A, which I think a lot of you still have episodes. As this is basically the first true instance where the swing vote basically gets swung out of the game. But it's always such an interesting thing to actually happen on. So it's actually kind of a fun thing when it happens, actually. And especially, I'm one of the answer think of obviously was someone is in a powerful swing position, one should be one side or another side, this side or that side, this thing or that person. And yet they're so indecisive about it, so cocky about it, so insane and just not influential about it. Yeah, people just beginning as like, hey, let's just vote on this person. And as that basically what happens with Chrissy in this episode, which something I've always loved, obviously, in the season. Like, you do kind of feel bad for Chrissy a lot of points of the season, considering, she is the first step person on this season, and as much as I do like Jenna Hyde, I do treat her a bit unfairly this season, honestly, and then, yeah. And basically, and this really is the episode that really showcases Rob Seth Neal's incredible gameplay, obviously. The fact that he obviously, blindsided Jenna Hyde in the previous round. The fact that he was still able to actually get them back on his side after all of that, it's pretty impressive. Stuff, obviously, and the fact that they all just like, hey, let's just vote out Christy anyway, because, she's so indecisive, so all over the place. It's just like, let's just do it anyways. And we can actually have fun with a moment where actually Jenna actually gave up her immunity to Heidi, which was the first time someone has done that in the season, which I think people tend to forget about, honestly. And it makes for a fun Chrissy blindside with her being incredibly burned against and very bitter about saying she's never going to vote for Jenna or any of these girls who's not going to win $1 million. Not going to happen. And it's kind of funny, I think, that when she actually votes for Jenna at the end. So all that makes for just an incredible episode. And now at number 4, we finally get to an episode from Pearl Islands, because obviously Pearl Islands is probably the best season class now. Obviously, there are actually only 2 episodes actually on here, honestly. And now it's lots of practice. But obviously, the 2 episodes were the most iconic ones. But the 104 being the premiere episode, Barry Barton Steel, which I still by is probably one of the best Final Train episodes of all time. Like eventually, I do land on do like a rank every premiere. You definitely expect this premiere episode to be high up on that list because it is an incredible premiere. Like it's pretty much the perfect Survivor premiere, honestly, where it does deliver the tone of the season, delivers the great moments from the cast, and just delivers what you can really expect. Obviously, again, we get some fun moments where it turns out the players actually were posting with their clothes on their back, which is crazy, and you get just a lot of different fun moments and everything. During the whole like pyramid, we had to raise Austin basically sold all his clothes and everything, and some of his boxers. Monty gets Sandra start her being an iconic character and her being fun, along with Johnny Fairplay, and of course Rupert obviously basically steals shoes. Obviously, get some iconic moments, but the 3 of the most iconic characters in Survivor history: in Rupert, Johnny Fairplay, and Sandra. And he gives the whole awesome immunity challenge as well, where they try to transport a cannon, at least to basically some try basically like having the strip naked and everything, which is again pretty hilarious, obviously, and a pretty interesting upset honestly with Drake ends up winning. And well, the vote out is not the most exciting in the world, obviously. I think it was kind of obvious that Nicole was probably going to be voted out. And it was probably obvious that Nicole was probably going to get the root, obviously, after her basically just, being a dick and that her basically just not gelling well the tribe with her white ass Tiana, obviously. It's still a pretty fun tribe council nonetheless, and still had some pretty fun moments in general. So like I said, fantastic premiere episode. And now at number 3, at number 2, we of course get to talk about Survivor Borneo, because obviously you can't talk about best episode about talking about the first hour season of Survivor. As I'm talking about number three being the actual premiere episode of Borneo, and number two being the actual finale. Yes, number three being the Maroonie, which is the first ever Survivor episode ever. Actually, that's why the only reason why it's on tied it on to, but it is still a fantastic premiere episode releasing the tone of what you can expect from Survivor, what you can expect from this show going forward. Again, it's kind of weird when we look back at being like the true first episode of Survivor, looking at a lot of things Survivor used to do and used to do with its cast and the marketing and everything. And it's still a pretty compelling watch, obviously. Seeing a lot of these players that have become icons, Richard, Sue, Rudy, may he rest in peace, Colleen, Jervis, Greg, and just really getting to know a lot of players, obviously, and what you can expect from this challenge. You also got a first challenge, and a pretty fun first vote, obviously, which was something most exciting to what I mentioned earlier. It still sets the tone for what you can expect from this season. And it's still a wood watch, honestly, all these years later. And I also hear the same thing with the actual finale, the final four. Well, obviously, there's basically got like time four, Richard, Kelly, Sue, and Rudy, obviously. But Kelly being the one out, obviously, if she didn't win, she probably would not vote out. And yet she ended up winning the final four media challenge, obviously. We actually get our first tie, obviously, between Sue and Richard. And for no reason at all, Kelly decided to switch her vote to Sue. I don't think that's ever explained, if I'm not quite honest. So, yeah. And of course, we get the first icon finding media challenge with the hands on the heart, which again, it's still disappointing that they have not brought that challenge back, fortunately. And like, it's also disappointing that not having like one of the options could do in this 550 polls, obviously. And I'm just accepting at this point, obviously. But it's still a very kind of fun challenge. Still probably in the debate being the best 5 media challenge in the entire show, obviously. And then we got Kelly winning her course another media challenge, her voting out Rudy. And we get a final power champions, obviously, of course, getting the icon. Yeah, Greg just asking for the numbers, obviously, and then the iconic Sue's random stink fees, obviously, which is still one of the most iconic moments in Survivor, period. Truly great moment, and leads to Richard winning by 4-3 votes, which people were actually not controversial at the time. Actually, I don't think people were kind of down. I think people were actually enjoying that now, obviously. But yeah, for the first season, I'm happy the first season has a great premiere episode and a great finale as a whole. Still have one of the best premiere finales of the entire show, obviously. And despite Blood Boy, it's not easy to rest in some areas. It's still a fantastic season, and the finale really does demonstrate that. But what is number one, actually, if you ask? But before we get to the number one best episode of season 8, let's get into the honorable mentions. The episode I still absolutely adore, or at least enjoy, just not quite make the actual list. Now, surprisingly, one Thailand episode made it so surprisingly, and that's Abductions, the fake merch episode. Really, the only episode that wasn't actually being close to making the honor mentions, at least. So, again, whole fake merch aspect and she getting the boots and everything. Again, really the only Thailand episode that wasn't made it, honestly. Then we got Swimming in Sharks, basically episode 10, being like the Rupert Blindside episode. Again, a lot of iconic moments for that with Burton and family. Makes for a great episode. Then we got The Merge from Australian Outback. And surprisingly, no Australian Outback made the actual top. And honestly, though, also I knew they would come on mention, obviously, with the Green Merge episode, being very entertaining, and Jeff Barney getting the food, and of course, him chopping up for peanut butter. Very fun moments. Then we get to Twist from South Africa, basically like the first true tribe swap, obviously. We get like the first, swap group player in Silas, but also like the first true challenge, honestly, with Ethan joining the challenge to get rid of him. And being one that actually ends up being the set, actually. And then we got to Where There Be a Feast Night, which is also the merge episode, obviously. We get some great more T-Bed moments. Again, any great T-Bed, honestly, I'm not complaining. And we get a fun Clarence Blindside. And then we get the merge episode from Gretchen, the iconic 4-1-1-1-1-1-1 votes. That alone makes their own mentions. And then we get to My Cases episode. Again, My Cases began nice. I'm surprised it didn't make the actual top 10. But we got like Jury's Out, which basically, the first time we actually see Alliance actually, shift actually and start to turn against the Alliance. With Neil Pascal obviously deciding to join for W. Sean. Pascal deciding to join Neil, Pascal, and Kathy deciding to join for Seppi and Sean to basically blindside John, which ends up being a very fun blindside. And of course, the actual finale, we get the purple tiebreaker, blindside Pascal, a fun media challenge basically. that Bill drops out of the county, and then we get a pretty fun top council judge. Von Traum is okay to winning. And a pretty fun reunion with Rose O'Donnell. And then we get the two episodes that were definitely closely listened. And then we get the last two that was super close to making the list. The one being Trial by Fire, which of course is the Michael Stevens evacuation, obviously, which I'm actually surprised this one didn't make the actual list, but it's still a great episode. Like, being the true Harry moment of Survivor. And the last one I'll mention is, like, I find Azula's obviously based on Shane, obviously, the final episode of the Amazon. We get some fun character moments in that, and of course, an iconic Dina Blindside. Again, Spider-Man Close obviously, these are all still great episodes. And now, no, but it's the great freaking live. It's the freaking live on Mellow Islands. Yeah, I'm not going to like do this about honestly. It's the great live episode 11 of Paparons. Of course, this episode will be number one. Of course, like, do I need to mention why this episode is iconic? After being just one single movie, after being the iconic giant fair play, obviously, we do get all our great world one visit, obviously, and then we get the whole thing of giant fair play with the whole grandma passing away, and also grandma passing away and everything, and hence I lie about honestly, giant fair and the wedding do award, everyone decided to sacrifice their loved ones just so giant fair play can be with his friend, obviously. And I find out he basically made up the fact. My grandma's at home watching Jerry Springer right now. And it was definitely fun, even lifestyle, honestly. We get basically she ended up being upset. We found out that she basically dumped the fish and somehow was blaming on Krista for some reason. Which again is pretty hilarious. Andrew doesn't even like defend her. We got like a fun challenge. Honestly, Burton actually wins at first, but turns out he actually misspelled the word, and then there ends up being a social media streak. And World of Tiana Boo, and like I said, it's not the most exciting Boo in the world. It's still pretty fun Boo in general, honestly, but tries to join together and actually vote her out, which is very surprising. But yeah, this basically is like the perfect start episode, obviously. So yeah, it's no reason. Yeah, so I don't think this basically is the perfect episode. So yeah, it's obviously, in my opinion, the best episode of the first 8 seasons. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed me discussing my 10 favorite episodes from the first 8 seasons of Survivor. And again, I do plan for other sections of Survivor, and eventually it's going to lead to me doing an overall best episode. So it's obviously not just going to be like a top 10, top 20 yet, honestly. I will let you guys know. But let me know down in the comment section what are your favorite episodes of this type of Survivor. And again, let me know what Survivor content you guys like to see down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I am Sam One World from Sam One Productions. I will see you next time. And as always, stay cool and Betty, and I'm sprinkling positivity your way today. Peace.